What's up, everyone? It's Scotty with MoneyVest. So we've got an interesting week coming up. So this is the last week of June, and we are pretty much going to be closing in second quarter of 2024, and we are kind of winding down on the earnings season for the most part. But of course, we'll have the second quarter earnings coming up very, very soon towards, I believe, the end of July going into August. So the first quarter was, of course, very good. The second quarter also posting a very nice gain for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. And in this video, of course, I'll be going over what's coming up in the next week, and also go over some technical analysis on both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ that we need to be aware of going into next week. In the previous video, also obviously went over the valuation for the market. We talked a little bit about the volatility, the Fed meeting, SEP, a lot of really interesting data points that happened in the second quarter of 24, but yet the markets have just continued to power through on the back of artificial intelligence, on the back of course, NVIDIA. So hope you all enjoy this video and find it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. And links to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. There is a 51% discount. This is the biggest discount we've ever given anybody. This is going to be part of the MoneyVest beta launch. That's a special price that we're offering until July 8th. And after that, we're going to give access to all the members to this amazing platform that you can pretty much visualize a lot of data sets, and a lot of other functionalities and features and tools are going to be introduced over time. So that is going to help you do even more in-depth analysis on individual stocks. And we're going to take feedback very, very seriously. We're going to have an internal meeting every week on whatever feedback you guys provide us. So test out this platform, join the beta, and after that, you can give us feedback, and we're going to be incorporating your sort of ideas into the platform, because I really want this to be useful and functional for you guys. And we've got a whole team ready to make this work and make magic happen when it comes to investing long term. So again, links going to be down below. We'd love to have you on board. We do value your opinion, so do join. There is a 51% discount right now for a limited time. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. So first things first, let's talk about earnings. Like I said, we are coming down on the earnings season here. FedEx is going to be reporting next week on Tuesday. After the bell, we got Paychex, we got Micron, we got Walgreens reporting, we got Nike also reporting on Thursday after the bell. So those are some of the big hitters for next week. Got Jefferies also reporting after the bell on Wednesday, and that's pretty much going to wrap up the week when it comes to earnings. Now, when it comes to some of the economic calendar stuff, again, we don't have a lot of really interesting things, but we do have the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. So inflation, in other words, PCE, that's the personal consumption expenditure, and core PCE, that's going to be coming out next week. So we got the Fed Waller talking on Monday, June 24th at 3 a.m. Eastern. So that is going to be happening. We got FOMC member Mary Daly also talking at 2 p.m. Eastern on Monday as well. Then going over to Bowen, also talking 2-year note auction. That is going to be quite interesting to watch because of the bid to cover ratio. We're going to have to watch whether the demand is still strong or not. And member Bowen is talking again on June 25th at 2 p.m. Eastern, once in the morning, once at 2:15 p.m. Eastern. And this right here, building permits, new home sales, and the 5-year note auction as well. And the Fed Bank stress test results are also going to be released. And these are going to be for the top 4, top 5 banks and how well capitalized they are. It's going to give us a little bit of an idea of how strong the banking sector is in the United States at the moment, because banks are really what kick us off on the earnings season every quarter. And they're going to be reporting, I believe, in July, end of July, early August is when they're going to be reporting. Now, as we know, the housing market is quite interesting right now. There are some declines. I mean, every city, every county, every town is acting on its own, where there's a separate market for demand and supply, and of course, shortage or surplus of housing in that particular market. But they're all behaving in very different ways. But the median home price still continues to be in the United States well over $400,000. Home affordability still being at one of the lowest, because home prices, asset prices in general, have increased substantially compared to income levels and wages, and that is, of course, lagged behind significantly compared to inflation and asset prices. So that's why home affordability, of course, in at least some areas, is incredibly difficult. That's why we have seen a net migration out of states like California, New York, over down south to Florida, Miami, because of the lack of state taxes, and of course in Texas and in the Sunbelt areas as well. And that's where the real estate market's still pretty stable because of the people moving in, because of that net migration. Although we are seeing, some parts of the market like Dallas, coming down a little bit in terms of prices, but very, very expensive markets down south in Austin, Houston, the Carolinas, even down south in, of course, Florida. very expensive markets. So we're continuing to kind of monitor some of the housing data as well. And of course, where rents are and where median prices also are. Very, very important stuff because everything is kind of correlated with how the stock market also does. Now, coming over to the most important day, Thursday and Friday next week. So pretty much to close out the quarter, we've got the continuing jobless claims, which come out every Thursday, of course. And then we also have the core PCE coming out for the first quarter, 3.6% expectations. And we've got the GDP quarter over quarter coming out on the very same day as well. And the 7-year note auction, GDP expectations of 1.4 to as much as 3% for the price index, and GDP quarter over quarter at 1.4%. Of course, initial jobless claims also coming out. And then finally, we've got a lot of survey results. So Michigan 1-year inflation expectations, 5-year inflation expectations, consumer expectations, consumer sentiment, Atlanta Fed GDP numbers, Fed monetary policy report. We've got a few other members talking as well as the core PCE and the actual PCE numbers coming out. So Friday, June 28th, the last day of the quarter, very, very important day for the market because we've got a lot of inflation expectations, consumer sentiment surveys, and the more important inflation numbers, which is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation, also coming out. Now, coming over to the markets, we are going into this last week of the quarter at new all-time highs, of course. S&P 500 last week was up another 61 basis points, trading at just over 64, trading above its 25, 15, 10, and 5-year averages in terms of the price to earnings multiple. I believe it's just over 21 on a trailing basis or on a 2024 basis, and a little bit closer to 20 on a 2025 basis, but over 22 on a 2023 basis. So as we discussed in our previous video, definitely a little bit more on the higher side when it comes to valuations. RSI MACD also overbought on the weekly time frame, so just got to be super careful with that as well. And if I bring up the technical analysis, if you go over to the daily time frame, you'll notice that we're starting to see the markets kind of round out a little bit. As you can see, the RSI well over 71. The MACD also has been pushing higher. So is the L3 banker oscillator. So I think it's really important for us to remain careful and cautious here that yes, the markets can continue to rip higher because markets in general tend to be more irrational on the upside than they are on the downside. So yes, this rally can potentially continue, but the risk reward is just really unfavorable from a long perspective because of the overbought conditions, because of the overvaluations, because of the premiums, because of the concentration. There's a lot that's not going for the market to the upside. Yes, we could maybe reclaim the all-time highs at 5,500, but really that support level is going to be down at 53.28, down to as low as 52.50, down to as low as 5,200. But we'll find out eventually, of course, if we ever come down to those levels. It's going to be somewhere between 2 to 4% or 2 to 5%, I should say, pullback for the S&P 500, something that is very much possible and not out of question. And the S&P 500, so the MoneyVest index that we have created, is right now at 3.77. So still very much in the red zone. So the risk reward, again, not very favorable from a dollar cost averaging standpoint, from being aggressive standpoint. The lower it gets, the better the opportunities will be. And eventually this index is going to make its way over to the MoneyVest platform where you can access this along with a lot of other really cool data points for functional usability, so fundamental and technical positioning of the market so that you can make better, high quality investing decisions, trading decisions for yourself. So again, this is going to be available to all the members, but right now it's on TradingView and right now at 3.77. Again, the risk reward's not that great. And that green zone, that green level is going to be the one to watch. Anything under 3 is when I am going to start becoming very, very excited about the market. Now coming over to the NASDAQ here. So NASDAQ here also very overbought. As you can see, the RSI over 70. MACD's also been pushing up. And the L3 banker oscillator also, pretty much at an all-time high here, or pretty much overbought, I should say. And support level is going to stay put at 17,000. So that's going to be the level to watch. And in case we see a pullback down to 17K, that's going to be a reasonable drop of about 4.9 to 5% for the markets. Again, nothing out of question, nothing unusual for the market considering that everything is pretty much at all-time highs. You can see that Apple already started pulling back a little bit from their all-time highs and after being overbought. Nvidia's also started to roll over a little bit after being extremely overbought, as well as a lot of other companies such as Google. Again, all-time highs starting to roll over a little bit with that negative divergence, and Microsoft also overbought right now. And again, ready to somewhat pull back, although it did hit a new all-time high on Friday, 3.34 market cap, and Nvidia here market cap at 3.11. So Microsoft reclaiming the top spot in terms of its market cap as the number one company in the world. So hope you all enjoyed this video and a complete update on what is coming up for next week. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And just got to be ready and be careful. Last week of the quarter, there could be some increased volatility. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there could be quadruple witching as well. Let me just double check very, very quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to check quadruple witching. And this happens... So let's see, quadruple witching. I believe it happens on the 3rd Friday of March, June. Yes, so March, June, September, and December. Actually, this was last Friday, so we already went through it, and there wasn't any increased volatility, I should say. But if you come over to the chart, you can actually see that increased volume using an index called the T-Vol. This is the New York Stock Exchange total volume, so TVOL, and you'll notice a huge increase on Friday, getting up to those levels at over 3.6, that large number, and that was an increased, of course, volume because a lot of options, triple and quadruple witching, happening on the 3rd Friday of June. So that happened last Friday. So we are done with that. And again, next week, lots of really incredible data point coming out. So hope you all enjoyed this video, found it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Again, links to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. There is, again, for a limited time with limited spots, 51% discount offered on the MoneyVest beta launch. This is a special price that you can lock forever and access this entire platform, do your full fundamental analysis, in-depth analysis on individual stocks. So we'll love to have you on board. We're very excited to launch this for all of our members. And again, links going to be down below. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.